Pete's sake. I mean, I'm not just speaking as a guy that bet the under in a little parlay tonight, but come on. I mean, for Pete's sake, this is not the Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, Emmitt Smith, Jay Novacek, Dallas Cowboys out there. On a 3rd and 7, can you come up with, covering Noah Brown? Come on. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. We've had a lot tonight on the open lines discussing the Yankees and DJ LeMahieu, and specifically what the real issues are here when it comes to the Yankees and payroll. And the fact that we have really let it go, that there have been so many complaints from Hal Steinbrenner about how much money they lost this offseason, or this season, rather, because of COVID. Yet, when you look at the history of their payroll, it has been in the same range for about the last 16 years. In the same range, it has topped out at about 230 one year. One season, it was down at like 170. But everything in between has been right around the $200 million mark. Meanwhile, their revenues have nearly tripled. And nobody has said a word about that. Now, we're not expecting the Yankees to go and triple their payroll. Of course not. But can you not complain every last second and actually try to go out and add some pitching beyond just bringing back the guy who finished in the top 3 for the MVP each of the last 2 years? Please try to tell me how that was a fluke when the guy did it 2 consecutive seasons. It wasn't. Not in any way was that a fluke. And now you're going to just pretend as if your geniuses, led by Brian Cashman, can immediately go and replace him. It makes no sense whatsoever. And frankly, it's insulting to the fan base. And I know that you would sit there and talk about how the money is put back into the team. It's not at the same level as it used to be. Doesn't have to be at the nearly 100% level like it was for George. Okay? It doesn't have to be there. But don't complain about losing all that money when you never once talked about all the money that you made over the last 10, 11, 12 years. Not once did you talk about that. So please stop. Please stop with that. It's complete and utter garbage. And yet again, if you want to complain about it, hold the guy who's in charge of it accountable for once. If you actually want to look at winning as important. Bill in Harlem is next on 98.7 ESPN. William, what's cooking, dude? How you doing?
Good evening, Carlin. Nice to talk to you, man.
Great to talk to you, Billy.
Yep, I was a Yankee fan in 1962, going back some years, and I love the Yankees and followed them for a while. Now, don't forget, LeMahieu was here in New York for 2 years. We didn't win with him. All right?
Oh, come on. Are you honestly going to sit there and use that argument with me?
Hey, but
when it comes to this guy, you're going to use that argument? Tyler Wade's been here for 2 years. They didn't win with him either.
Well, you say you need pitching, bro. We need pitching, so we're going to go. They made you all the money. We got nothing for pitching, then what? We're back to square one.
You need pitching. There's no doubt you need pitching. Why shouldn't the Yankees spend money on both? Why shouldn't they?
I'm not a favorite of long-term contract. That's my problem. Long-term contracts I don't like. But there's the name of the game today. You got to go out and spend the money because of the contract. But sometimes it's a business you end. We do it. A lot of free agents we like out there. The man I would like to see in the Yankee lineup right now is Brantley. That's the kid I would love to see in the Yankees. Yankees need some left-hand bats in the lineup.
Yeah, listen, I don't think that's a terrible idea, but Brantley's not LeMahieu.
That's right. Go for less money, get some pitching, and
no. You're not going to get Michael Brantley is a really good player. It's not going to be dirt cheap for Michael Brantley. I mean, let's be fair about that.
Don't want the bad talk LeMahieu, young man. Don't think I'm doing that. That's not my point. But I'm looking for the money they're looking for, and what's going through with COVID and everything else. We don't know where the money's going to come from next year. So who knows if they're going to have a season? Who knows if they're going to have anybody in the
Yankees are worth $5 billion.
stands?
Somebody will buy them tomorrow if they put them up for sale.
It's not my money. It's not my money.
I know it's not your money, and you're acting that way. Thanks for the call. I think we're done here. I think we've made our point. The point is simply that you may not like long-term contracts, okay? But at least acknowledge that LeMahieu is somebody that has earned it. And he is someone that checks every single freaking box for the Yankees. And that's not even being discussed in the front office. It's all about how much we're losing and, we can't go 5 years with this guy. Do you think at the end of 5 years that he's going to completely flame out? You think that's going to happen? Do you think he's going to be a guy hitting 240 at the end of it with 3 homers and 30 RBIs? Come on. He's not going to be what he is now. But he will be for the next 3 years. I'm willing to bet that. And to me, it's worth not losing that guy as a result. Absolutely not. Isaiah in the Bronx is next. Isaiah, talk to me, dude. What do you got? Speak to me.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call.
Isaiah. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I think that, first of all, before we start, which do you think these Knicks are going to be?
Thanks for the call. That was gold. Gold. What's the over-under on how old he was? Maybe 12? Probably 12. If I had to set it, I would put it at 11 and a half. Something like that. And this is what I heard, by the way. And my hearing is actually still pretty good for somebody who's been in radio as long as I have. This is what I heard, by the way. Knicks. We will get into previewing the next season here in the next week or so. But, I honestly, as much as I want to get excited, and I am excited about the future, I still do really wish there had been something significant that could have happened for them in the trade market or in the market, in the free agent market, something that would have really not lifted expectations, but lifted hope. Like in the Knicks case, you can have some hope here, right? I am very, very excited to see Obi Toppin play this season. Oh, I'm excited. Very excited. I think he's got a real chance to be special. I really do. 800-919-3776. We got open lines. It's a good chance for you to get through. We still have more to do on the Giants and why this path that we're all feeling very good about right now is not as easy as we thought. We will also get into whatever you want, and I got to spend a couple of minutes on James Harden and what's going on there, because that's mind-numbing in so many ways. 800-919-3776. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
As New Yorkers, we pride
You're down, Chris.
ourselves on unique, and we know one size doesn't fit all, especially when it comes to healthcare. That's why free local experts will help you compare plans and pick what works best for you. New York State of Health is here to help you find a low-cost plan.
Tell me how I took a bet tonight, over 1.5 field goals in the first half, and Tucker missed a 35er, and Zerline missed a 25.
By
Yeah,
December
kicking the
15th
pants.
and start 2021 with the coverage you need.
Could really use a nice field goal here.
Knock her socks off this Christmas? Then give her the gift of rest and relaxation with Tempting Touch pajamas, exclusively from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. Tempting Touch pajamas will keep her warm and cozy from head to toe. They're made with micro velvet, a new fabric that's addictively soft. Order today and you'll get free gift packaging. Go to pajamagram.com. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. Pajamagram.com.
Hey, Verizon customers, are you tired of paying all those extra taxes and fees? The average Verizon wireless customer pays over $100.
It's kind of crazy that basketball is back in like a week or so.
With Spectrum Mobile, you'll pay $0 in added taxes and fees, no matter how many lines you have. So stop paying and start saving with Spectrum Mobile. See how much you could save by switching. Go
options. I can pass that like Stockton. Just joshing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins. Sports in the top 10. I can put the ball in the end zone, put a bad in the friend zone. Sound like an intro jet song, give me that tempo.
Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. We started the show talking about the Giants tonight, and that's what I want to get to here for a few minutes before we get back to the calls, and we will very shortly. Open lines right now. Also, your thoughts over on Twitter at Chris Carlin, and you can put up your comments on the live stream as well. The video live stream is up at ESPN New York 98.7's Twitter handle and on ESPN New York's Facebook page. You know, as excited as we all are about the Giants, and justifiably so, the fact that you have meaningful football right now, that they go out to Seattle and win a nearly impossible game to win, they put themselves in this amazing position in what's been a bad NFC East this year. And frankly, before yesterday, what happened in Pittsburgh, it looked like a virtual lock that they were going to win the division and separate themselves. But along comes the Washington football team. Along comes the Washington football team. And they win that game in Pittsburgh. And they've now won 3 in a row to also get to 5-7. Now, we know the Giants break ties with them by virtue of beating them twice. However, if you look at Washington, they have got a much, much easier path to the division title than the Giants. Now, you're going to get Daniel Jones back this week against Arizona. Arizona has not played well. They have lost 3 in a row and 4 of 5. But they have also put themselves in a position where every game is super important for them at 6-6 to try to make the playoffs. So they desperately need this game too. So the Giants get Arizona, Cleveland, who is as hot as anybody in the NFL right now, at Baltimore, which, right now, it looks like their defense is not playing at as good of a level, but Baltimore has had their issues pop up too with timing and when games are and all that stuff. And then Dallas at home. And that is not exactly an easy schedule for the Giants to work with, or for the Giants to work with here moving forward, okay? It's not exactly one that you would look at and say, well, these are games that they're definitely going to win. Are they capable of winning all of those games? There's no doubt they are capable of winning all of those games. There's no question. I don't think they will. Would I be shocked if they got to 9-7? No. Will they? Likely no. I think more likely you're looking at them at this point getting to 7 definitely, maybe to 8. Meanwhile, how about Washington? How they've played so much better. And they've got the following teams. At San Francisco, who looked awful last night. And a good part of that was because of the Bills playing well too, but still. I mean, they look bad. They've got Seattle at home, okay. Then they've got Carolina and at Philadelphia. If you're going to look at it objectively, Washington should win 3 of those 4 games. So now you've got the Giants having to win 3 games of these 4 to win the division, to get to 8. I mean, I said a minute ago, it's possible, but by no way would I call it probable. They've played really good football. I think they're playing with an awful lot of confidence, and that is showing right now. But I don't think that you can sit there and believe that they're going to run this off and finish off at 9-7. So if the Giants don't finish 8-8, they could be in some real trouble here. Washington may finish 8-8 relatively easily. And when you look at the Giants in Washington, don't discount them. Don't discount Washington, because they are doing the things that the Giants are doing with one notable exception. They're not running the football effectively for the most part, and not just because of Antonio Gibson. They're rushing for about 100 yards a game, but they are playing really good defense right now, pretty much at the same level as the Giants at the moment. And they also have put up points when they've needed to also. Look, I think with that as a backdrop, it all of a sudden becomes a lot scarier proposition for the Giants in winning this division than maybe it was when we were all celebrating on, Sunday night. 800-919-3776. Chris on Long Island is next. 98.7 ESPN. Chris, what's going on?
What's going on, Chris?
How you doing?
Hey, everything's all right. I want to ask you a question. Do you still think that we failed, trying not to get Russell Westbrook?
Do I think that you failed in trying to get him?
Like we failed. Like, do you still want him? $50 million a year, stuff like that.
Yeah. Know? My mind didn't change on that. And the reason why is that, look, while it ended up being a great situation for Washington in getting Westbrook, in getting rid of John Wall, in Harden somehow, I mean, think about that for a second. Harden's demanding out. And I'll get to his clown act in a minute. But, Harden supposedly would rather play with John Wall than Russell Westbrook. Doesn't that speak more about Harden than anything else? But at any rate, they got stuck with John Wall. The first-round pick that they're getting is not for 3 more years, and it's heavily protected and could easily turn into 2 second-round picks. So what exactly out of all of this am I supposed to feel good about there if I'm Houston. Secondly, Westbrook immediately adds excitement to the Knicks, and I've stuck to this argument. I'll continue to believe it, Chris. It's simply,
Chris,
I know.
Chris,
I know. He adds excitement, and if the Knicks progress rather a little bit quicker because of Westbrook, then it all of a sudden becomes a more attractive place to be.
$50 million a year, Chris.
For 3 years.
You know, I heard they wanted the eighth pick this year. They wanted our pick this year because we didn't have like a star quality player like John Wall. Mm-hmm. They didn't want.
Yeah, but John Wall is a guy that hasn't played in 2 years and is also making $50 million.
Yeah, but I heard they wanted RJ. They wanted the eighth pick of this year.
Well, obviously you wouldn't have given all of that up. I would have given up the eighth pick, but I would not have given up RJ, and I would not have given up a fortune. And you would not, honestly, you shouldn't have needed to. That's Houston's own stupidity for making that deal, and now they're in the situation they are with Harden.
Yeah, I know, but you would have gave up Obi Toppin, RJ.
No, I would not have given up RJ. The only thing I would have given up would have been the pick.
But they wanted RJ too.
So I would not have done that. That's what I'm telling you. That would have been too much. I would not have done that because I would have ultimately been doing them the big favor of taking that contract. So I'm not arguing with you on that. That would have been too much.
All right. Chris, one more thing.
Yeah.
Why did you have to hang up with the little kid, man? That was so horrible. That hurt my heart. It's like 1 million people listening to that.
It wasn't because he was a little kid. It was because he was.
That was so sad.
It was not. Oh, come on. It was not sad. It was not sad.
He was so excited to be on the radio, and you hung up on him.
See, you know what? Maybe it's because Chris, maybe it's because I've become too much of a cynic, okay? But you heard so excited. I heard wise ass kid.
Okay.
And that's why I bailed on him that quickly.
All right? Nice to speak to you, Carl. I'll call back again, all right?
All right, be good. Thanks for checking in. 800-919-3776. Can we spend a minute here on Jimbo Harden for a sec? How about this just absolute dope? I mean, dope's not the right word. I hate the word clown. Clown's being overused these days. It really is. How about this joker? How about that? How about this joker? I am now going to claim joker as my word. How about this joker? So James Harden finally showed up today after it looked like he was going to hold out, and he took his COVID-19 test. Awfully big of him down in Houston. And now he's willing to accept a trade to the 76ers as well. Hang on a minute. Hang on. So they trade away Russell Westbrook because you don't want to play with him anymore. They traded away Chris Paul because you didn't want to play with him anymore. They got rid of Dwight Howard because you didn't want to play with him anymore while he was still in his prime. All of those guys. They let all of that happen, and now he wants out. I mean, you have got to stop with this. James Harden, they just went out and traded Westbrook for John Wall, who hasn't played basketball in 2 years. 2 years. James Harden has never won jack. Not a thing. Not a thing. And because he can go score 50 a game, he is now running the show with Houston and now is going to get his way and get traded. Now, if you're Houston and you end up getting this boatload that you supposedly want, God bless you. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen, does it? It feels like they're going to do okay, but it doesn't feel like they're going to load up on prospects. They're going to load up on draft picks. They apparently want a star player, good young players on their rookie contracts, and a boatload of first-round picks for Harden. I mean, if Harden continues to push his stance of I'm not going to play and I just want my way out here and I'm going to get what I want, how exactly is that going to help the Rockets get in return what they need to get in return for that kind of talent? But that aside, let's just say you're Harden and you want to do all of this after everything you've pulled and you have not one title to your credit. And now you're trying to get somewhere where you could go win a title easier. Well, you know what, James? Winning a title hasn't been that important to you before because you haven't found a way to make it work out with three other star and superstar players. Three others, Jimbo, three. And now the team goes and gets the player that you want instead of one of them, a guy that hasn't played in 2 years and is making $50 million a year, and now you want out. My God. Just stop. Just stop. I understand that it's a players' league. I understand that players are going to determine where they go, the star players at the very least. To me, even if you're a star player, there has to be credibility behind what you're trying to sell. And James Harden has zero credibility to me. He's made 2 conference finals appearances since he's been in Houston. That's it. That's it. He wants to go out there. He wants to score 50 a game and his step back 3, and he wants to do everything his way. And now that it hasn't worked out, he wants out. Stop it. Stop it. The league is what it is, but this is one guy that should not be calling the shots. 800-919-3776. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. By the way, Harden, overrated because of it. Winning is not important to him. He has not handled himself well here at all. Open lines, 800-919-3776. At Chris Carlin as well. You can comment on the live stream too with the Twitter handle for 98.7 ESPN and also on ESPN New York's Facebook page. That's where it's all happening to see the live stream. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
Paul and Phil. You're down, Chris. You have another live read coming up in about
take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Can you give me the
Mike's
holiday the hot take?
Leave a worldwide mess. Yes, still rock live familiar.
Listen, it's the most wonderful time of year. You know that. The Michael K. Show holiday broadcast is back. This year, we're giving you a chance to hit the airwaves with Michael, Don, and Peter with your holiday hot take. Everybody's got them, so fire one off for your chance to win some holiday spending cash. And your way on the air on the Michael K. Show holiday broadcast, Wednesday, December 16th. Dial into the holiday hot take line right now, 347-974-ESPN, 347-974-3776. Leave us a message with your best hot take. 4 winners will each score $250 and a shot at the spotlight during the show with the biggest names in sports on the Michael K. Show, 98.7 ESPN. I've gotten some outstanding recommendations to use instead of clown because I am just so tired of the word clown. I mean, it's been overdone. Let's just call it what it is. And 3 brilliant ones that I love. I had already claimed Joker, but all J words. Jabroni, jackwagon, jamoke. I haven't heard jamoke in a long time. My father used to say jamoke. Look at this jamoke. 800-919-3776. Let's continue on the phone. Sam in Orange, New Jersey is next on 98.7 ESPN. Sammy!
Howdy, Chris.
What's going on? Oh, it's you again. I'll give you a shot. Go.
Yeah, the Jets are big, whatever, you know. They fired their best coaching staff, Greg Williams. I think he's amazing. The Jets had a terrible defense. You made the Jets defense pretty decent, actually. What do you have to say about that?
I have to say that Greg Williams, and thanks for the call, had to go. Because you want to talk about how great of a defensive coordinator Greg Williams is. That's fine. Here's what I know. He knew he was getting fired at the end of the year. And Greg Williams, by making that call, was trying to get fired now. And there is no question in my mind that that happened. And the reason I say that is, first of all, that hasn't happened. That particular defense in that kind of situation has not been called, according to Next Gen Stats, in 15 years. 15 years. Greg Williams, for being a great defensive coordinator, is a smart guy, right? At least people call him great. He certainly will let you know how great he is. There is no explanation that is possible for that call to be made. None. And I find that really insulting on so many levels that he would do it. Greg Williams to do that to his players, to do that to a rookie free agent corner, to do that to a group that had played their you-know-what off for him, especially considering the situation they're in, he quit on them. He has many times divided teams or helped divide teams when you have a defense that's decent and you have an offense that's not getting it done. We saw him pull that garbage earlier this year. We have seen Greg Williams also go and have his issue with the entire bounty gate, paying players to hurt other players. There's no integrity there whatsoever. And I hope he never gets another defensive coordinator job. The only way I think he gets it is if somebody like Jerry Jones, somebody like Daniel Snyder, somebody like, I don't know, maybe Mark Davis, but he's much better than Al ever was. If he's somebody like that, gives him the job. Other than that, I don't think he'll ever be a defensive coordinator again. And he shouldn't be. Because quietly, I bet you that's what's talked about around the league. Quietly, I bet you that's being discussed. 800-919-3776. John in Chester. John, what's going on, bud? How are you?
Not bad. How about you, man?
I'm doing well. Chester, New Jersey or New York?
New Jersey all day.
Outstanding. I used to go to the Chester Flea Market.
Hey, now there's a strip mall there that's about to go out of business. So everyone's the winner.
What's going on with you?
Just everyone seems to be throwing around excuses for the Steelers. But 3 games in 12 days is exactly what happens when you play 2 Sundays in a row and then a Thursday. I honestly just think the Steelers, mainly Ben Roethlisberger, are old, and everyone said that they were going to be, or Ben Roethlisberger was going to be a weaker quarterback, and he's just showing it now, and now we're trying to make excuses for him. I think this is just the way the season plays out, and 3 games in 12 days, Spike at the beginning of the show said that never happened before, but it absolutely has. It happens every season to most teams.
3 games in 12 days is not an easy stretch. I mean, it happens to the Cowboys, right? It happens to the Cowboys virtually almost every year.
Sunday, and Thursday is 12 days.
Yeah. No, I said it happens to the Cowboys and the Lions most every year.
But if you look at the Thursday night schedule, most teams play the 2 Sundays before and then have a bye week the next week.
Correct.
That's 3 games in 12 days.
No, I understand that. Spike was not right about that. But at this juncture of the season, is it fair? Probably not, but it doesn't necessarily matter whether it's fair or not, because we're talking about COVID and everybody's doing what they have to do to try to make this work. So I'm not going to get nuts about that.
I completely agree. I'm just saying that I think that people are using it as an excuse when most teams have to go through it anyway. Ben Roethlisberger is just an aging quarterback, and it's an aging team. And I don't think that they should be given a pass for, they were exhausted and they beat the Redskins. The Redskins played a hell of a game.
The Redskins did play a hell of a game, and they went in there and won the game. And the Steelers were up 14-0 in the game. They should have won the game, and they didn't. And it's because they didn't play well enough. So listen, I don't want to take anything away from the Redskins. Bottom line, and I keep calling them the Redskins. You just called them the Redskins. Set me up, you son of a... Anyway, I don't want to take anything away from Washington. But I don't want to... You are a troublemaker. I don't want to take anything away from Washington, but I'll say this. When you are in that situation and you clearly did not play well the week before, just a few days earlier, you have to do a better job. You have to do a better job. That's all there is to it. Thanks for the call. And it's not playing from November 22nd until Wednesday, December 2nd. And then they play on Monday, and then they play on Sunday. So it's 12 days. It happens. It's a rough stretch. It's not an excuse. They are a better football team than Washington is. But Washington's playing at a high level right now. 800-919-3776. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. We finish with as many of your calls as we can, whether it be on Harden, whether it be on the Yankees, and why Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman are just not catching nearly the heat that they should be. And we're also in on the Giants and the fact that their path to winning the division is not nearly as easy as it was a little bit more than 24 hours ago. It's all there for you. Hit the open lines now. 800-919-3776. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
Celebrate the 12
to bring in a big star. What do you think, sir?
You know, for now, it's team basketball. The problem is that you know that that's only going to go so far unless the players that you draft turn into those great stars. You know, if Obi Toppin turns into a star in the league, then yeah, you're in better shape. But you can't treat it like the process completely, where you're trying to argue that the only way that you're going to get great players is by having a top draft pick. You can't treat it that way completely. You do have to have some, I mean, I hate to phrase it like this, some self-respect for your own organization to try to get it back to being an important place to be. It's just not the case anymore. It's not important for people to want to come and play at Madison Square Garden. For younger players, Madison Square Garden holds very little significance. And I think at the same time, when you look at the organization as it is, they are not going to get that free agent, I think, for a couple of years. I think unless Toppin turns into it right away or relatively quickly, or R.J. Barrett does, you're going to have to go trade for that disenchanted guy that may not have as much say into where he's going as, like, you know, James Harden does.
Right. Yeah, I'm not interested in Harden. I mean, he's a great player, but, 50 points. He doesn't.
Well, he's not. Listen, it doesn't matter. James Harden's not coming to the Knicks anyway.
Right. Well, what about, like, you see these great players, so, like, they're in high school, they're great. So you really got to get that number one draft pick, like with New Orleans, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at, like, so next, I think it's what, 2022. You're gonna have high school players again eligible for the draft, and that's why everybody's talking about how important the second round picks are going to be here in the future. Maybe that will make a big difference, but you're still talking about players that are that young needing an awful lot of time to turn into superstar players. You know, you're going to have to work hard to find the next LeBron, the next Kobe. And even Kobe, if you look back, wasn't Kobe in year one. It really took until year 2, year 3. I think he was an all-star in year 2, if I'm not mistaken.
And don't underrate the power of Shaq on that team, too. But, I was just thinking, I just think that, I'm starving for good New York basketball, and I don't think the Nets are going to really bring the excitement that the New York Knicks team would. I'm definitely biased being a Knicks fan, but I think we got to get, for this generation.
Well, let's be fair, and thanks for the call. The Nets, I'm very interested to see if people honestly look at the Nets and think that they're going to have the same impact that the Knicks would in this town, even with having Durant and Kyrie and all of that. I mean, are they going to be as significant? The answer to me is likely no. So if that's the case, it just tells you that they're never going to be on that same level. If you can't do it now, if the town does not fall in love with the Nets and they become everything, something's wrong. Then you just have to accept your fate as never being that team. Never being that team. The only way you would ever be that team from there on, the number one team in town, is if you actually ended up drafting the next LeBron James. And then you would become that team. But other than that, it can't be done. If it's not going to happen now, it can't be done. And that's the only way to look at it, right? I'm very skeptical of the Nets being able to be on that same level as the Knicks when they're great. I mean, I hate the fact that I sound like I'm really old when I talk about the Knicks going to the finals in the strike-shortened year. Like, I feel old talking about that, and that's 20 years ago. And number one, I can't believe that that's 20 years ago. But I remember it like it was yesterday, and even the mid-90s. It was an amazing place to be. It was everything to go to the Garden for games. And to just see it have absolutely no special atmosphere to it now is just painful. And for it to have been as long as it has makes it so much worse. Is Brooklyn going to turn into a special place to go to a game? I'm skeptical of that. I'm very skeptical of that. And I can't believe I'm saying that when you consider who's on that team and all the talent they have, not just those two, not just Durant, not just Kyrie, but Spencer Dinwiddie, all the talent they've developed with Dinwiddie, with Joe Harris, with Karis LeVert, with Jarrett Allen, everything they have done. They have a championship-level team. And I really wonder what it's going to be like there this year. All right, that does it for me this evening. We will see you tomorrow night at 7. My thanks to Jake Montgomery. My thanks to Brian Munguia, the boys, the backbone of the show. Tomorrow, David Sampson will join us, the former president of the Marlins. We'll have a lot to say around the winter meetings. That should be fun. Make sure you are with us starting at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Larry Hardesty up next with ESPN New York Tonight. Carlin out. Stay handsome.
Weeknights.
Good stuff, Chris.
You're down.